Hey, welcome to the Pink Couch. Tonight's episode, the ultimate betrayal. Yeah, another gut punching episode. I can only imagine where your mind went when you heard the topic tonight, the ultimate betrayal. So let's break down words. I'm a wordsmith, so let's break down what it means to betray. All right. So, according to Merriam Webster's dictionary, it says to lead astray. Wait, who would have ever thought that that word meant that? To lead astray, especially to seduce, to deliver to an enemy by treachery. Now, listen, I love words, so let's break down what treachery is. All right, treachery is an act of perfidy or treason. Okay, violation of allegiance or of faith and confidence. All right, so when somebody betrays you, they deliver to an enemy by treachery. All right, it means to fail or desert, especially in the time of need. Wow. To reveal unintentionally, like betray one's true feelings. It also means to disclose in violation of confidence. It also means to prove false as an intransitive verb. So that's what it means to betray. So there are different levels of betrayal. And I'm going to build up to the actual ultimate, because what you think is an ultimate betrayal really isn't the ultimate betrayal. But by the time we finish this episode, you'll have a clearer understanding where I'm going with this. All right. So one of the most common ones is infidelity. All right. That's when a partner's sexual or emotional connection with someone outside of the marriage is often seen as the ultimate betrayal in a monogamous relationship. And so most people think infidelity is the ultimate betrayal. When you are committed to something, if you entertain something outside of the commitment, it will be considered betrayal. For instance, okay, my husband is a Cowboys fan. I'm not. I'm married into that. Okay, but if I call myself cheering for the Commanders, he will feel like I have betrayed him on so many levels. And that's how it is in relationships. When you make an agreement to support something, to do something together, and then you decide to entertain the opposite of that, that can be a sort of infidelity. When you are committed to something and you're saying, I'm not going to entertain anything else, this is my choice, and you choose something else outside of that, could be infidelities. All right. So another common form of betrayal is lying and deception. The act of lying can undermine trust and authentic communication. It will cause a person to doubt everything the other person says. Listen, lying is like, most people can't stand a liar. Grandma said, if you scratch a liar, you'll find a thief. That's what she used to say. So if you lie, you'll steal. And they say, if you steal, you'll kill. Well, that's what old folks say. And we find it to be true. When you are not honest about what you're feeling or where you're going or what you're doing, it makes people look at you another type of way. Sometimes liars are so habitual they cannot even recall the lies they've told. A good listener will catch you every time. I'm good listener. Listen, I'll catch you every time. I may not say anything, but I'll catch you. I'm listening carefully to what you say, because like I said, I'm a wordsmith, so words matter to me. So depending on what you say, in a sense, will determine how I interpret it. And so when you're lying, not being honest, it makes people doubt everything that you say. It's like the story about the little boy who cried wolf. When he really was getting attacked, nobody believed him. And so sometimes when people lie, it causes a great mistrust. It kills authentic communication. If you tell me, well, can I borrow $20? I ain't got no gas. And then next thing I know, you eating crab legs on Facebook. You're a liar. Now, you could have took that crab leg money and put gas in your car. But people do it all the time. And so, and now, I try to keep it very, very practical. But the Bible says that every man is a liar. That's what it says. And so when your trust is undermined, you no longer look at that person the same. And so then they begin to doubt everything a person says. That's why in relationships, if you tell one lie, they're going to interrogate everything you say from that point forward because the trust has been broken. Okay. Another form of betrayal is financial betrayal. All right. This can include squandering shared assets, hiding significant financial information, or accumulating secret debts, which can destroy financial security and trust. One of the things that people do not do during the courtship is talk about finances. They don't. You want to know what their favorite color is, what their favorite food is, what they like to do, what are their hobbies. But you never ask them about their financial situations. And so when you are squandering money, doing what you want to do with it, and we're supposed to be buying a house, or we're supposed to be saving, preparing for vacation, things of that nature, you can betray somebody in your finances. If you are in a relationship and your husband is struggling to get everything done and you hide money and not saying anything and watching them struggle, that is financial betrayal. If you're living with somebody, they'll let you squat for a couple of months and you're supposed to be saving your money to move out, but you're still splurging, you're shopping, you're eating out, and then they say, okay, you've been here 6 months, time for you to go. Well, I don't have enough money saved. Then what did you do those 6 months? That is financial betrayal. Okay, so then what if you have a plan to do something for the business? You're in business, you're in a partnership with somebody else, and all of a sudden they took a loan out on your paid off property, unbeknownst to you. And so here comes a foreclosure notice because they took out a loan against the property. They haven't paid on it. They took that money, did something else where they haven't paid the loan back. And now here you are in a situation where you have to move. That is financial betrayal. And so when you do stuff like that, it's very perfidious. It's very treacherous when you do stuff like that. And then what happens is now you have destroyed a financial security and trust. So here I am thinking you're a good business partner and we're supposed to be having this property. Now we don't have a building, or we're in a marriage. We're supposed to be saving money, say the third, and I'm working overtime to help you get your hair done, your nails done, and you're buying purses with your money, or you giving money to your friends, or you giving money to people who say, we're not even gonna let them borrow. Do you know how many couples argue over money? Because they done lent money out to people outside their marriage and haven't said anything, and now bills are due, and you got all these loans out. That breaks a financial security and trust. And so you have to have conversations and talk about this stuff. So like I said, there's different types of betrayal. But let's look at what betrayal actually means. Now, we talked about what it means to betray. So betrayal is the act of betraying someone or something, or the fact of being betrayed, violation of a person's trust or confidence or a moral standard. All right. So relationships can be so tricky, whether it's friendships, courtships, marriages. When you betray somebody, when you actually disclose something that was given in confidence, that is egregious. It's painful. There's a difference between a vent and a vault. And if people say, there's somebody I need to vent to, but let me give you an illustration that you might not think about. In your house or in your apartment or in your office, there are vents all over, right? But guess what? That vent goes into another room. Okay, when you have a ventilation system, their vents is air circulating in all areas of that space, in different rooms, different closets, whatever, right? So when you're venting to somebody, are you sure it's staying with them? Or is that conversation seeping into other rooms? And 9 times out of 10 it is. 9 times out of 10 it is that it's seeping into other rooms. And so what happens is Now what you held so dear, the information that you shared that was so personal, now it's in other rooms. People are discussing it. It's getting distorted. People are adding things to it. They're taking the things away from it. And you will just be amazed at how venting is really not healthy. I have learned that when I thought a place was a safe space for me to bare my soul, for me to, get some stuff off my chest, end up in a Facebook post, end up across the pulpit somewhere, end up in somebody else's conversation, end up people looking at me funny and sideways. And so betrayal is something that it can be very, very painful and very, very damaging. And so when you have somebody that you have given a trust to, and you're expecting them to keep your confidence, you're expecting them to not judge you, and you find out it's a complete opposite, it can be very detrimental emotionally. And so I posted something on my social media page a couple of weeks ago talking, we pick our Judases. You don't know who Judas is? Judas is the one that is known in the Bible for betraying Jesus, right? And we picked them. Jesus picked them to follow him. And we don't realize that we do pick the people that betray us. We give them our endorsement. We say that they're our best, they're our ride or die, they're our best friend, or they're this, they're that. We've endorsed them. So because they have our endorsement, people start to look at them a different way. People start to trust them as well. And so now they have gained the trust of your followers, or they gain the trust of your colleagues, gain the trust of your family. And so now if you say anything negative concerning that, it's going to look like you're jealous, or look like, you have an issue with the problem. But you said this person was this, you said this person was that. But what we don't factor in is people change every single day. There's a reason why we are giving brand new mercies every morning, because people change every single day. People wake up one day, I don't want to be married no more. Oh, I don't want to go to work no more. I don't like this color no more. I don't want to go to this restaurant. People wake up every day changed. And so with that being said, that's where grace comes in. And some people frustrate the grace. And so when you think you know somebody, you think you know them, you think you know what they're going to do, they will do something that will completely blow your mind. And so then you have to process, well, how do I handle that? Am I going to be able to trust this person again? Can the trust even be earned back? A lot of times it can't be, because initially it was never earned. Did you hear what I said? The reason why the trust can't be won back is because it was never earned. We gave them a pass. We make the mistake of thinking that because we cool with people, we clicked, boom, we're good. But are you? Do you really know that person? We don't take the time to vet people. I'm guilty of that. I take people at their word, and then next thing I know, I see something different. But what you are seeing was always there. And so because it was always there, it was hidden behind the smiles and the accolades and the high fives and I got your backs and things of that nature. Okay, so let's switch gears here. Let's talk about key factors that actually intensify the betrayal. We've talked about what initiates it. Let's talk about how it gets intensified. You ready for this? Okay, first, we talked about it briefly earlier, breach of trust. A betrayal is inherently a violation of the implicit or explicit contract of trust that forms the foundation of a relationship. When you are friends with somebody, or when you are married to somebody, or when you are in partnership with somebody, the fact that the trust was the foundation that formed your relationship, the breach is bad. The breach is just bad. This is why when you breach contracts, you can get sued. And that's why people now are doing contractual agreements now, because if you betray what we agreed on, I'm going to sue you. So then, another key factor that intensifies betrayal is lies of omission. Keeping significant information secret or omitting crucial facts can be just as damaging as outright lies. So when you find out that, your bank account is depleted, maybe, say this, if you find it, well, you didn't ask me if all the money was gone. You just asked me, did I take some? Are you kidding me? Like what? When people omit stuff, it makes it worse. And people love to play on words when it comes to when people are caught in their lie, they love to play on words at that point. Because they were saying, well, you didn't ask this, this, and this. You asked this. So lies of omission make it worse. It's worse than just outright lying, because at least I know all the information. So if you tell me, well, okay, I lost my job, or I quit my job or whatever, then I found out you actually lost your job. Well, you didn't ask me the details. What? Are you kidding me? So when you omit information, it makes it worse. And people who do that are very diabolical and very dangerous. It's nothing worse than a dangerous liar. This is when you get into the danger of lying, when you're omitting certain facts that are pertinent to the situation. For instance, you got people, you're in a relationship with somebody, and you've been infidel through sexual contact and sexual interaction. Well, if you're unprotected, okay, now you have a disease. You don't tell your spouse, like, are you crazy? So now they gotta find out you got a disease. Now they've been exposed to it. Well, you didn't ask me, so I didn't tell you. Listen, tell the truth. Tell all the truth. Lies of omission make it worse. The next one is public humiliation. When a betrayal is made public, the added layer of shame and public disrespect can make the experience even more traumatic. Public humiliation is horrible. When you find out you've been betrayed and the whole world finds out at the same time, that can be very, very painful. Because, it's one thing to find out your betrayal in private. Nobody knows but you and the individual. When it comes public, it's another layer. It intensifies the betrayal even worse. And so when betrayal is made public, it puts everybody in your business. It gives people ammunition to use against you if they have an issue with you. It can destroy your reputation. It can destroy your brand. It can destroy a lot. So public humiliation makes a betrayal even worse. Another point is lack of remorse. This is a big one for me. Lack of remorse. When people betray you and they ain't even sorry about it, you're upset, you should just get over it. What? Like what? A perpetrator who lies or manipulates their apology further prevents the victim from trusting them again and recovering from the betrayal. When you manipulate, like you make a person feel like it's their fault that it happened. Well, if you've done this, I would have done that. That's crazy. When you've betrayed somebody, if you really love that person, it should affect you. But when it does not affect you, that's when it becomes a huge problem. And you have to understand that when you have lack of remorse, it causes people not to trust you on that level. And so we have to understand that if you want to recover your betraying ways, you got to have some empathy. But most time when people betray you like that, they don't have no remorse. Could it be an attack as opposed to betrayal? Because a lot of things that we think are betrayal are outright attacks. Okay? So let me break down the word attack right quick. Because, lack of remorse to me is diabolical. Especially if you say you love somebody, you care about somebody. But sometimes it's just an outright attack. So an attack is defined as, according to Webster's dictionary, to set upon or work against forcefully, to assail with unfriendly or bitter words, to begin to affect or to act on injuriously. It means to threaten with immediate capture. So that's what attack means. And so when you look at that from that perspective, was it really betrayal? Because some people will pretend to love you. They'll pretend to like you. They'll pretend to support your business. They'll pretend to support your marriage, support your ministry, but they really come to attack what you're building. And so when you look at betrayal, we have to ask ourselves a really hard question. Am I actually betrayed or have I been attacked? Because there's a thin line between the two. Because remember, betray means to fail or desert, especially in a time of need, to deliver to an enemy by treachery, to lead astray. How can you be led unless there's some feelings there? How can you be led unless there's some trust there? So you gotta understand that a lot of things that we name a betrayal could be attack. There's two sides to this thing. So those are some of the things that intensify betrayal. And so with all that being said, what do we do? How do we handle this stuff? Because a lot of people are not able to move forward because of this word. They've been betrayed. The thing is that we love people, but we hate how they treat us. And because love is intended to be unconditional, people utilize that for their advantage. People love the fact that you have integrity, you got character, you got a big heart. So you're a target. Let me just help us tonight. We're targets because they know, well, if they got integrity, they're not going to go around and really tell anybody what happened because they have integrity. So you'll become a mark. So the stuff they pull with you, they don't pull with other people, but they'll pull it with you. And so now we got to figure out after we talked about all of these key factors, now we got to break down what is the actual ultimate betrayal. I hope you're ready for this one. All right. So I talked about a lot thus far. Could go a lot further. This could really be a part two of this, but we're not going to do that tonight because I want you to really think about what I've shared so far. So what is the actual ultimate betrayal? We talked about infidelity. We talked about financial trust. We talked about betraying confidence, all the type of stuff. But the actual ultimate betrayal is betraying your true self. Yeah. Yeah. This is something that people don't talk about a lot, but it is the most potent form of the ultimate betrayal is when an individual fails to live authentically, conforming to others' expectations, rather than following their own paths and values. One of the reasons why we get betrayed is because we stop being true to ourselves. We start compromising. We start making excuses for bad behavior. We reward bad behavior. We allow people to disrespect us, mishandle us over and over and over again in the name of love, in the name of friendship, in the name of God. When you betray your true self, that's the ultimate betrayal because you are no longer authentically yourself. And that's how you got betrayed to start with because you already had standards. You already had expectations. And then all of a sudden you started dumbing down. You started letting stuff slide. And, well, it ain't that bad. Maybe I'm too harsh, or maybe I'm too this, maybe I'm too that. But you have got to stay true to yourself. Sometimes, and I'm sure you all can identify with this, when betrayal hits the scene, you always say hindsight is 20/20, right? Go back to your gut feeling. When you first met the individual, when you first had the conversation, when you first had the meeting, that is always the right instinct. But we ignore it because we don't want to be alone, or we want to progress. We want to make some moves. We want to build our rapport in the community or in the business world. We don't want to stop. We want to keep going. But isn't it amazing that when you drive, there are stop signs, there are stop lights, there are caution lights, there are slow down lights, but we don't do that in relationship. We don't yield. We don't stop at the four-way stopway. We turn it right on red in certain places. Some places you can't turn right on red. You can turn right on red, but not in certain places if the sign is there. There are all types of signs around us. Help me not to get emotional. There are all types of signs around us that tell us to slow down, that tell us to be cautious, tell us that this lane is ending. Traffic is going to merge into where you're coming to. But we don't look at that in our everyday lives. And so when we conform to what society says, when we become what that partner said they wanted. We take data. Data means collecting data, right? So when you're on a date, you're asking these questions. So it's okay, well, I really like them. They cute, they fine. So I'm going to do exactly what they say they're looking for. You're no longer your true self. So here you are. You've become what they said they wanted. And guess what? They still don't want that. They were just talking. They were just saying something that sounded good. Most people cannot be honest about what they want. A lot of us settle. We settle in business. We settle in marriage. We settle in family life. We settle all over the place. But when it comes to our heart and our intellect and our dreams and ambitions, then we don't settle on cell phones. Everybody got $1,000 phone in their hand right now, but you can't give $1,000 to a charity or to a church, or you can't put $1,000 towards your next house purchase. But it's all about what we are entertaining. And so when you betray your true self and you don't slow down and you don't ask the right questions and you're not paying attention to the signs, do you know that you could be looking at your phone and you don't even know the light is green, but some way, somehow, you're starting to drive full. Pay attention next time you think about that. You're looking at your phone, you're doing something else, but all of a sudden you know it's time to go. There are certain things that you're just wired to do without paying attention. But sometimes when you don't pay attention, you run into the back of somebody, or you get hit. We gotta slow down this year and pay attention. Listen to what people are saying. This is going to be very comical, but I'm very transparent. So back in the day when I was a kid, in my teens, I was dating this guy. And he was super cute, whatever. I liked him, whatever. He was in service, this and the third. And so we were riding down the road one day, supposed to go on a date, right? And so Brian McKnight comes on. He starts singing. But the song he was singing was called One Last Cry. Now here I am, smitten. This man is singing to me. But I'm not listening to the lyrics, right? Not paying attention. I'm just so enamored that he's singing to me. So next thing I know, we break up. And I was devastated. Like I thought everything was going so well. Dummy. You was not listening to what he was telling you. Because that's what we do. Now that sounds real funny. But I was so excited he was singing to me, telling my friends, but one last cry. But I gotta leave it all behind. He'll leave me behind. He will let me know I'm going back to the service. I'm leaving you behind. But this is what we do. We do not pay attention to what is being said, the motives. We're not doing that. We're just so caught up in the moment and the gesture. We're not paying attention to the motive and the intent. So the ultimate betrayal is you not being true to yourself. I know you thought them cheating on you was bad, and them walking away from you, abandoning you, talking about you, publicly humiliating you. I know you thought that was just terrible. But the ultimate betrayal is to be not true to yourself. So I want you to be honest about what you want, be honest about how you feel, and be honest about where you want to go. And stick to that no matter what. Because at the end of the day, there is somebody out there that can fulfill what you're looking for. And there's nothing more worse. And people will never say this, but I'm going to say it tonight because I'm Coach Lele. I ain't afraid to say it. There's nothing worse than being married to something and being married and then seeing what you really want is way over there. And you can't do nothing about it because you settled over here. Now, people ain't going to talk about that. The people ain't going to be honest about that. People every day are in situations they're looking like, I know you lying. Because you think it's not possible. You think you're doing too much. Because everybody else you encountered wasn't willing to do that. So you stop being true to yourself. So, I was going to do that business idea. But I didn't think it was going to be lucrative. But guess what? Somebody else is doing it. So if you do it now, people think you're copying. But you really did have that idea, but you was afraid to do it. You got to be true to yourself. So that's it for tonight. I know I laid a lot on your lap tonight. And that was my intent. We have to slow down and start thinking a little more clearer and understanding that sometimes the ultimate betrayal is not what we think it is. It's not somebody abandoning you, betraying your confidence, cheating on you, um, breaching financial security and trust. It's you not being true to yourself. And so I want you to love you enough to stay true to you. Because how dare we expect people to be loyal to us? We are not loyal to ourselves. My name is Coach Lele. It's been the Pink Couch. I love you guys. See you next week.